You know when you're out on a ride on your electric bike and something just doesn't feel right? Maybe your brakes don't feel like they're braking anymore. Maybe there's a weird noise coming from your bike and you just don't know where it's coming from. Or maybe when you're pedaling, it just feels like you're not really going far. Something's just not right. You do not need to be a mechanic to work out all these problems and fix them. Today, we're going to be showing you guys 5 simple tips to keep your e-bike well maintained. Let's get straight into it. Let's start off with something simple but important, your wheels. This includes your tyres, your rims, your spokes, and also your tubes. Making sure that they're properly inflated and the tread isn't worn can go a long way for you. For example, if your tyres are low on pressure and you're trying to pedal the bike, you might notice it's a lot more effort to do so, but it also drains your battery. Having them at the right pressure not only allows you to ride for further, but also is a lot more comfortable for you and less effort for you, as it is an e-bike at the end of the day, right? Another thing is making sure that you have tread on your tyre, which means more grip. The less tread that you've got and the more smooth your tyre is looking, you might want to change your tyre by this point. So I've got Ash with me here. He's going to throw you guys through the basics of what different types of tubes exist, why they exist, what's the right one for your bike.
When it comes to inner tubes, we have the Schrader valve, which is basically what every car bike uses nowadays for standard tyres anyway. They're good, they're reliable, you can pump them up anywhere. 90% of the pumps that are out there usually will have an adapter for that already built in. On the other hand, we have pressure valves. These ones are quite small, built for small rimmed bikes, and most of the time it's very hard to find an adapter for these. You mainly see these on racing bikes or smaller wheeled vehicles. Now let's talk about tyres and different types of tyres that are used. So we have a standard tyre with a tube in it, which you can see right here. But there are another type of tyre which are tubeless, and they don't have an inner tube inside like the standard tyres do, and that basically has a seal around itself for when you pump it up, so it sticks to the rim. So now we'll talk about what options are best for you. You have your tubes, which is like this. They're more likely prone to punctures, but easier to repair and it's a cheaper cost, as the tube is somewhere between 10 and 15 quid depending where you buy it from. 15 to 20 minute job, quick and simple. Tubeless on the other hand, you would need to replace the whole tyre, as it is just a tyre itself. There's no tube, nothing inside it. If you get a puncture on those, you have 2 options, which are basically sliming it before you get the puncture or replacing the tyre outright. Also, as an added bonus, if you wanted to, you can plug the tyre, the tubeless tyre, with a plug, which you would usually use for cars when you get flat. 9 times out of 10, they'd last you like 4 to 5 days, and you have to replace the tyre depending on how much you ride and where you ride. On the other hand, you have tube tyres, which you can fix with a puncture repair kit, which is a little rubber seal and some glue. You take out the inner tube, you file down the tyre, you put the patch on with the glue underneath, and you let it set for roughly 5 to 10 minutes, and then you pump the tyre up and it lasts you a good couple weeks depending on how you ride.
So which is better? Well, if you're a casual rider, inner tubes is simple, easy to replace and works just fine. But if you want fewer flats, better grip and a smoother ride, going tubeless might be worth the switch. Now as for the tyre pressure, ideally you want to check it about once a week. In my opinion, once a ride. How much air you need depends on your tyre size, your weight and your bike setup. For road tyres, which are about 25mm wide, around 100 psi is a good starting point for an average weight rider. If you're lighter, you can let a little bit of air out. If you're heavier, you might need to pump it up a little bit more. If you're running on wide gravel tyres, you're probably looking at something between 30 and 40 psi. The best way to make sure? Check the recommended tyre pressure from your tyre's manufacturer, or check your wall on your tyre, because it will tell you the maximum pressure it can take. Now, actually pumping your tyres is pretty simple. Depending on the valve depends on if you need an adapter or not, with Schrader being the most common one, which means you probably don't need an adapter. Just unscrew that valve cap, pop your pump on, lock it in place and pump away. Once you're at the right pressure, remove the pump, tighten up the valve cap just up till it's finger tight, and you're all good to go. Keep your tyres properly inflated means a smoother ride, better grip and fewer flats, so it's definitely worth a quick check.
Right, let's talk about batteries, because let's be honest, without one, your e-bike is not going anywhere. Although battery maintenance isn't exactly rocket science, there's a few simple tricks and habits that you should do to be able to maintain your battery for a long period of time, making it last as long as possible so you can keep using your e-bike as long as possible. But it is one big topic, so let's break it down to you guys. First, let's get the obvious out of the way. Keeping it clean, the best way to maintain your bike, and it's specifically the battery, and look after it. Because the biggest thing is water and electronics and dirt combined just does not mix. And one recommendation for me, if you don't know what you're doing and something's wrong with the battery, please don't try and repair it yourself. Bring it to somewhere that specializes in exactly this, like us. But here are a couple of things that will help your battery stay in good health for a lot longer. Number one, never charge a frozen or overheated battery. Let it warm up or cool down to room temperature before plugging it in. Number two, always use the charger that came with your e-bike. Faster chargers might seem tempting, but they degrade the battery faster over time. Number three, whenever possible, charge your battery inside, preferably in room temperature. Take the battery out of the bike and charge it this way. Plug the charger into the wall first and then into the battery. This avoids power surges that can cause damage to the battery's internal components. Number four, after charging, wait 20 minutes before using your bike. This gives the battery management system, or BMS, time to balance the cells properly. Number five, if you're storing your bike for a while, like over winter or you're on holiday, avoid leaving the battery at full charge completely empty. Ideal storage is around 60% charge, and if you're at 0%, charge it up to at least 30%. Leaving it dead for too long can seriously damage the cells. Number six, another key tip for winter riding, charge and store your battery inside before heading out. A warm battery performs way better than one that's been sitting in the cold all night. Temperature, that's a big thing. And the reason being is if you think your battery can handle being left out in a snowstorm and baking sun, think again, it's just not good for the battery. Extreme cold, your battery is gonna struggle. Extreme heat, the lifetime of this battery is gonna decrease drastically. So taking batteries off these bikes are relatively simple. Take the Hido C1 for example. The battery is just located under this seat here. I've got Ash with me, come over Ash. He's gonna show us how easy it is just to take it off, especially when you come home after work. All you wanna do is take your battery out, leave the bike outside locked up and keep it inside nice and warm, ready for the next day to be charged up. It's easy to forget to remove it. Don't. It might take a few extra steps, but bringing it inside when the weather is extreme is worth it if you want to avoid replacing it sooner than necessary. Bottom line, take care of your battery and it will take care of you. A little effort now means better range, a longer lifespan, and fewer unexpected issues down the road. Simple. Now, let's talk about spokes because keeping them in check is key to a smooth and reliable ride. Most of the time, your spokes, they're probably fine. But if you're a heavier rider or run a really big motor on the rear or the front, over time you might notice some changes on your bike. The biggest thing to know is spokes don't fix themselves. If you notice that one of these spokes are a little bit loose, it'll just keep going to the next one and the next one and so on and so forth. And before you know it, your tire's no longer true and you've got some really noisy spokes. So what's the easiest way to stay ahead of your problem? Run your fingers along the spokes, giving them a squeeze and just seeing if any of them move. If you get any movement like this where they just simply rub together, not a problem. If you see any that are a lot more looser than they should compared to the rest of them, then that's when they need to be checked out. If one feels noticeably looser, don't ignore it. And if you hear a rattling noise while you're riding, that's a warning sign. Now, to tighten these, it's relatively simple. You grab your tool, you find the size on the tool that you need for your spokes. You find your spoke, you push it on, and then you just turn it clockwise to tighten it up. Now remember, don't over tighten because it can buckle your wheel. And also make sure that when you're tightening it up on one side, you also try and match it on the other side. Otherwise, the same thing happens, it can make it buckle too. Now, if you feel like no matter what you do, your wheel still feels buckled, we highly recommend bringing it down to your local service centre, obviously us, to go and fix it for good. A good rule of thumb is just tighten it up so they all feel very similar to each other. A good method is to do what we call the guitar string method, where you simply just brush your hand over the spokes, and if you feel like one sort of pings a little bit more than the other, then that's probably the one that you need to tighten up. Regularly checking your bike spokes is just one of the key things that comes towards bike maintenance. So just make sure you do that to make sure you have a smooth and reliable ride at all times.
Up next, we have chain lubrication and how important it is to lubricate your chain every other month or so, depending on how much you ride and what type of terrain you ride through. We have a chain here as an example of not kept up to standard, I guess, in a sense. It's not regularly maintained. There's quite a lot of rust and wear and tear on it. Basically, terrible condition. Usually we would use something like this. So this one lubricates your chain and basically keeps it spinning and not basically like catching on itself. So the links between each link, there is like a bearing in a sense. And if those get greased up and clogged up, the chain becomes stiff and basically unusable. This prevents that from happening. It gets rid of any friction between the links, which helps you pedal bike along a bit more. We also have this one here, which is bio-grease. This stuff protects your chain from rust and corrosion, and you basically do that after you've cleaned your chain down. You want to put some of this on, and it will basically keep your chain protected from any rust or corrosion. Now I'm going to show you how to properly apply it to bicycle chain. You need wet lube, usually in muddy and raining conditions. Protects your chain amazingly. This is bio-grease. This protects your chain from corrosion and rust. And this is what your chain looks like when you mess up. And lastly, you need some gloves because these chemicals can cause damage to your skin, shedding, and basically it's really bad for your skin. Okay, so we don't use these two both together at the same time because it will basically be a really nasty mess. Plus they kind of counteract each other's properties. We also will need some tissue, anything, just to make sure you don't spill a bunch of fluid everywhere. To begin, undo the bottle. Depending on if it's new or not, you may have a seal on the top of the cap, which it does. Make sure you have gloves on because like I said before, the chemicals can irritate your skin and you wouldn't want any rashes or anything. So we will first apply it to the chain as we spin the wheel, and we'll slowly trickle some on it here and there. Doesn't have to go over the whole thing, just little by little. And then any excess you get on the frame, just wipe away, and then just keep spinning the wheel and adding a little bit more every so often until you can clearly see it along the chain, which, if you can see ever so slightly, it looks to be all over the chain, evenly spread. And that's how you lubricate the chain. Very quick, very simple. Let it set for roughly 5 to 10 minutes. You're good to go.
Now, if you feel like your brakes are something that are feeling a little bit maybe sluggish, they might be squeaking, or you're hearing some strange noises, it might be time for a brake adjustment. Now, don't get me wrong, it sounds scary at first. Brake adjustments might be something that just seem to be a bit too technical for you, but rest assured, we'll make it easy for you. I'm gonna bring Ash in once again, and he's gonna show you guys how to do brake adjustments.
So now I'm gonna be showing you guys how to adjust the brake correctly. Just so you guys know, this is a mechanical brake adjustment, not hydraulic. If you would like to see us working on some hydraulic brakes, just leave a comment and we'll just make a video of it. So we're going to adjust the caliper now. It's a mechanical caliper. Very quick, very easy. We're going to first loosen the lever arm on the caliper itself to reduce tension, which I'm going to do now. Once it's loosened, the arm will drop down a few centimeters or so. Our next step is to loosen the two caliper bolts that hold it to the bracket. Okay, so once those are loose, we now have the ability to move the caliper in and out between the disc. Now, to adjust the caliper to align with the disc, we will get our M5. Sometimes the calipers will need a 2.5 Allen key to adjust a grub screw, or even a 2mm, depending. This one currently is loosened for me already, but it would usually be somewhere around the top. We then get the 5 and we go through the back of the wheel, and there is a piston there that holds the pads in place. We'll basically ever so slightly tighten it so the pads move closer to the disc, so it creates a smaller space for the disc. Once that's done, you'll have slightly less play in the caliper mount itself. So from this point, we will basically pull the caliper as far out as we can and get as close to the disc on the inside as possible. Okay, so now that we've done that, we take a look to see how close it is to the pad on the inside. you want roughly 0.5 millimeter to 1 millimeter of gap space, just so you know that there's some room for the disc to spin and so it doesn't rub. Once you've done that and you've checked that it's aligned correctly, we will then go to the lever arm and we will push it all as far up as we can go, and you'll feel tension. When you feel the tension, you're basically closing the pads on the disc. Once you have it in position, you want to have full tension and then ever so slightly loosen that tension, the tiniest amount. Hold it in place and then tighten it up. Once it's tightened, the caliper have more braking force than previously. We now will check the alignment of the disc between the pads and see if they're rubbing or if they're making any contact. From what I can see, there's no contact between the pads and the disc currently. So now we'll check the lever itself and see how nice it feels. And if it feels stiff, that means we did a good job. If it feels really soft and smushy, then we need to readjust the caliper. So currently it feels nice and stiff when I'm pressing it. The lever arm's not traveling as far up, which is good. If you feel unsure about any repairs you've done to your bike or an adjustment you've made that you feel is incorrect, come down to one of our shops in Eastcote or Caledonian Road and we'll take a look for you.
And if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure you like, subscribe and comment down below what your favourite bike maintenance habit is. As always, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Smash the like button.
That.
Smash it.